Okay, so we're starting the stream. We are starting to stream. And it's a Monday, November 20th, 2017. And man, are the creeps going down or what? I just keep on hearing about all these creepo, pedo, weirdo dudes, like Charlie Rose. I heard Charlie Rose went down today. I know that has nothing to do with Bigfoot or paranormal, but it definitely is some kind of conspiracy theory thing. Yeah, so I got a few questions in, or I got really like one good question out of chat, and wanted to address that. But before I do, I want to say hi to everyone. Hi, the ones in chat, Cold Warrior and Amanda. Hello. I know I'm on a little bit early. I have some things to do tonight, but only so I thought I would go on early. And I know my right coast. Let's see, no, left coast, right coast, East Coasters, the East Coast people, they'll like it. Everybody from like the Mississippi and East will love that I'm on earlier, maybe, huh? Hi, Winner. Yeah, so hi, P. Eaton. I want to thank everyone for sending all this stuff. I mean, I got some more stuff on the way. I can't believe it. Everybody is so generous. I know it won't be long, and I'll have a computer, and I'll be able to do a little bit more that things like show pictures and videos and stuff like that. The I've been having problems with the phone line hooking up to the mixer. It's not the mixer. It's not that I don't know how to use the mixer. I only have like a couple of cables for it that I bought, and I don't have enough to buy any more cables right at the moment. And both of them are humming, and I don't know if it's the cables or if it's the phone. And then I'm using an iRig too. I heard great things about it, and so I bought it. If it doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to buy a couple of more cables and just do it like the way Jeffrey does it. Hooks up his phone and stuff. But only I am working on it, and I don't have a lot of time to work on it. That's the sad part is we're doing a little bit of. I want to get in this. This room I'm in right here is my actual bedroom, but I'm not in it. The carpet is out. The wall is tore up that goes into the bathroom. And we're working on it, and it's going to be recarpeted, repainted. And then I get to move all this stuff out of here. And actually, I have to kind of mess with it every so often just to do the work in the room. But yeah, it's so nice, huh? 8, it's like, it's 5 something here. And I have to leave at 6, so I can't stay on long. So I'm going to try to like get through a few of these things that I wanted to talk about. The first thing was, I got a question in chat about Donald Marshall. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Donald Marshall. The people that came with us from Paranormal Central, they know about Donald Marshall, or they should be familiar with Donald Marshall. Hi, Ralph and Connie and Pam and Susan. Wow, it's going pretty fast. Yeah, Dandy Don Marshall. A little history, like we interviewed him 3 times, and I actually had been following him in his story for probably kind of like Heidi Hollis. Like I had been following Heidi Hollis for ever since, like, I'm thinking like 2000, somewhere in there, or maybe 1999. Yeah. Have a cup of coffee with Donald Marshall. But a real quick synopsis of who he is, or a little bio, on Donald. He was he was raised by the Vril. His mom and dad gave him to the Vril when he was real little, and supposedly they're like lizards, or they are, and they usually scare little children. It's almost like what's going on right now with all these pedophiles and stuff like that. They scare little children, and they get that adrenaline going in them, and then they eat them, and they get a buzz off of the adrenaline, right? I mean, it's a real sick stuff. And he has been cloned. See, that's the problem. He with for me, okay. I know that he had mind control for, like, until he was older, and they memory suppressed him until he got older, and so he had no recollection for years of what was going on down there. And when they did let him have his memory, I guess it would be a shocking thing, to find out that, hi, Matt. Yeah, and I'm live. Hi, Michael. Yes, you sure can donate. I have a donate button. It's on the cover picture. You could actually buy some T-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like that too. I have a little store where you can buy some things, and I make a little bit off of it. I think it's like 50-50 is how they have it set up. So, I'm sorry the prices are like a little bit high, but it's not way out of line. And then I also have my PayPal, and it says William, okay? It's William Thomas. My full name is William Thomas, William Allen Thomas, and I go by Allen because everybody in my family was named William. My dad was William, and then, somebody would come in and say Willie, Will, Bill, Billy, William, and everybody would go, what? So when I was 5, I told my family, I'm not Willie, Will, Billy, Bill, William, anymore. I'm Alan. Call me Alan. And from then on, I went by Alan. But then when you get into the legal, technical banking stuff, they don't let you use your middle name a lot of times. In order for the bank and everybody to talk right together, I had to use my full name. And then I know that kind of surprised people. They clicked on my PayPal and they're like, William? Who's William? Well, I'm William, and it's me. I wouldn't put a fake one up there on you guys. Where am I going at 6 p.m.? I'm going to the pharmacy. Only I have like about 15 medications to pick up, and some of them are new. I'm trying something new for pain. Ever since the government decided to crack down on opiates, I'm looking for alternatives just in case they put a kibosh on it. Even though, that this is kind of like, I don't get it, type of thing. I belong to a few groups and actually some forums from before there was Facebook and before there was a MySpace. We went in these forums, like they used to be Bigfoot forums, and well, there was a disease forum for people with RSD like me, and they started cutting back on the opiates, and these people are in a lot of pain. The RSD is the highest pain known to mankind at all. I mean, it's the worst pain. You can look it up. You can Google it. There's no other higher pain besides maybe getting your leg cut off without anesthesia. So I mean, it's like the worst pain ever. And then they decide they're going to have a war on opiates because of all the street people abusing it. But what about all us people that don't have a life without it? Like like me, for instance, like I wouldn't be able to do this kind of stuff unless I had something to help with pain. And right now I'm hurting unit. My hip and leg is hurting pretty bad. But anyways, I joined these forums, and 5 people have committed suicide because of the pain and their doctors cutting them off of opiates. And I mean, that's a tragedy. And when is the news going to pick up on that? When are they going to tell the truth about that? You know, I mean, somebody needs to figure something out. Okay, now, like back to Donald Marshall. Got a question. I think it was Connie. Were you the one that asked about Donald Marshall? Like maybe you haven't seen him in a while. Well, one of the reasons that you haven't seen him, I still follow him, and I like to hear what he has to say because I actually do believe he hangs out with movie stars and rappers and important people in the world. Because I actually believe that he's hanging out with the Illuminati and the fallen ones, right? That's not what he thinks they are. They've fed him, and you have to understand when you're under mind control like that, where they can control your brain, even though he thinks that he hasn't been controlled, and he has all his faculty, and able to think and deduce and reason and all this stuff. He There's still the option that he was programmed to believe what he's believing. And I know they don't like, he does rebel, and they do, like, they threaten him all the time. And one of the reasons why he has gone quiet is because they told him, like, one more time, go out there and say that, talk about us one more time. And, this will be your last time, and he'll be dead. But when he was little, in order to keep from getting eaten by these things, he sang songs, and then they were writing the songs down, and then these rappers and rockers and musicians that were in there, right? And they're all evil people. A lot of times they don't even want, some of them aren't, they don't want to be there, but they sign a contract. Okay, when you sign that recording contract, sometimes you might be signing it from somebody you shouldn't sign, because then they own you, and then they can take you to these places, and they can show you, all your clones, and then they can kill your clone right in front of you, or they can put you in the clone and then kill it, and you wake up, like, it's really a weird thing. I believe a lot of what he says is true, a lot of it. Only what he thinks they are, like if you tell him that you think it's fallen angels and demons and stuff like that, he says no, it's aliens, it's the lizards. Only all the research I've done, the lizards are the fallen ones. That's the dark side. That's the bad thing. But at the same time, why I don't think he's lying is because if the clone thing, just think of Star Wars, like the Clone Wars, right? I mean, think of the Matrix. There's a lot of movies and shows and stuff where they've talked about this, and usually when the dark side, they have like a code of honor or a written somewhere law of these guys have to tell you what they're doing. But instead of making it coming out and saying we're doing this, they come out and they do it in a movie or several movies and TV shows, and they spin it as being fiction, even though that's really what they're doing. And he he has he has dropped out. I mean, he's still posting and dropping little hints and stuff like that, but he doesn't want to be killed, and I do believe he probably would be if he didn't shut up. So, it's a shame because I believe that, he really was sounding the alarm. I mean, he's one of the first ones that said, and I absolutely believe this, and I don't just believe it for his area. I believe as Americans, okay, if we all could get on the same page, because one of the things that they're doing is they're divide and conquer, right? Like right now, if you say, I like Trump, you get attacked by everybody that likes Hillary, right? And if you say you like Hillary, then you get attacked from the other side. And if you say you don't believe, you don't like none of them, everybody kind of still goes after you. You got to believe something. Well, they're dividing the country. I believe like if we voted with our wallet, like at the gas pump, if we decided that gas was too high, like in California, it's high, okay? I mean, regular is right at $3 a gallon. It's ridiculous. And if you go get any kind of name brand or whatever, what do they call it, premium gas, it's real high. It's over $3, even the regular. And I do like Trump too. Actually, I really don't like Trump. I never really did like him that much, but only I do like him what he's doing here as a president. And the reason I like him is because they all don't like him. That means that he can't be bought. Plus, he knows all of them from a long time. I mean, you're a billionaire, so you've been rubbing elbows with these guys. You know who they are and what they stand for and stuff. So they're trying to take him down, but luckily, everybody does something. You know what I? There's nobody that's perfectly clean. You know what I mean? And neither is Trump. But he's American, right? He wants to leave America. He wants to bring America back to what America once was. And right now, it's all owned by the deep state, the actual people that was torturing Donald Marshall. Those are the ones that are running this thing. Is these really bad pedo people? I mean, like he was saying, the singers, the women singers, they sign these contracts, and then one night they get, and maybe for years they have their memory suppressed, as like the little Musketeer girls. I can't remember their name now, but Madonna and all of them. These old, weird, 80-year-old, nasty, rich dudes, and most of them in power, Congress, and I'm probably going to get taken out for even saying this, but they want to have, they want to be pervs with little girls and boys and stuff like that. And that's actually what's getting arrested now. 1,800 sealed indictments. And I just saw Charlie Rose from PBS went down. He was a perv. He just got taken out today. I mean, it's about time they're getting the pervs. That's why I think it's related to what Donald Marshall talks about. Like he talked about how they could clone, like if they liked a certain person, like these old yucky dudes, rich dudes, they could clone 10 of them, and then when you hit REM sleep, then they can put you in the clone, and when you wake up, you think you're you think you got abducted, but really you're in a clone, and then they have their way with the clone, and they can kill the clone, and they can do it. They can actually abuse the clone until it's dead, and they can keep doing it until they've all had their jollies or whatever, and all their sick things that they do. And I think that's what Trump's after is those guys. I mean, I really do. And High Killed by Bigfoot and Tam Simon, and is anybody else in there new? Let me see. No. Yeah, lots of lizards. And they're all, this is actually like research, if you research lizards or dragons, like if you go to China, dragons, okay, dragons everywhere, they have dragons. You go to Japan, they have dragons. You go to England, they have the dragon slayers, right? I mean, that's where all the movies came from, over the dragon slayers. You go to Mexico or South America, it's dragons or big lizard guys, right? And these things had offspring that turned into the titans. Okay, they were giants. And like Jeffrey, he had Kaiser on his show last night. If you guys missed it, go watch Jeff Gonzalez, Paranormal Central, on his YouTube, because that is a really good interview with Kaiser, and he's in the know, and he killed a giant, right? So all this stuff is all related, and I'm even wondering if maybe even Bigfoot isn't related in here somehow, and maybe there's several species of these things. Like some of them might be flesh and blood and not have the stuff. Hi Jerry, how you doing? And Northworthy Sagas and Stories. Man, what a name! Blah blah. Yeah, so all over the world is lizards, right? Reptilians. They've been here for a long, long time. They actually probably were here before the human was put on the earth, before God created the humans. They actually probably, like, and why, I don't know. They probably picked this planet because of, all the diversity that can be on this planet. I don't really know. I wasn't there. You know what I mean? All I know is I can research and research and research, and I can follow things to a conclusion. And a lot of times it's not a set in stone conclusion, but it's enough. There's enough evidence that if you took it to court, you could win a court case on it. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough stuff. And I know a lot of people that they research and stuff like that, but soon they really aren't researching to find out anything. They only reach far enough or research only in the line to satisfy what they believe, okay? They don't go out there with an open mind to try to see what the real truth is. They only go out and research to verify their belief. And that's easy. I mean, there's a bazillion different ways to find your belief. But if you want to know the truth, you really got to dig. And it might take a few, nights and cups of coffees and maybe months of them to really find out what the truth is. And when you do go looking for the truth and you really do find the truth, it's a real eye opener on what it is. And but yeah, so Donald Marshall, I believe everything he says, only I just have a problem with who he thinks they are. You know what I mean? Like, he'll tell you they're lizards. He'll tell you how they breed. He'll tell you how they clone people. I mean, he's seen all that, and he tells the truth, and they don't like it. But it doesn't mean that they haven't, like, they say they're the creators or whatever and all that. So, I mean, it's all a big lie. They lie like crazy. Only thing that isn't a lie with Donald Marshall is what he saw and experienced, and maybe even some of that. It isn't that he's lying. It's that maybe what he saw was skewed or programmed into him. You know what I mean? But I really believe he's on the people's side. I like Donald Marshall. how could you go living, when you know all this stuff and you get called in there? So I think he could talk about it. I just think that he wants to be left alone. I mean, like, how many times can they call you into a clone and cut your arms off and slowly kill you? You know what I mean? Like, who would want to have that, like a nightmare every night? And they as soon as you hit REM, then you're down in the cloning thing, and you have the Queen of England or Putin or some rich old dude or some rapper or something, that you said something about, and then they get to torture you and kill you, and then put you in another clone and do it until they get tired of it. You know what I mean? And it only takes them 8 days to make a clone, and so they could have 50 clones lined up of whoever they want, and they can torture and kill and torture and kill and torture and kill and be pervs and all that stuff. So I feel sorry for him, because that's no life. You know what I mean? Now that as long as he shuts up, he can live some kind of a normal life. And I say more power to him, that he's doing that. Now, to get into the Squatch zone now, this the I'm gonna do let's see, I think I'm gonna do a live stream trying to contact Charles Manson. Wow, I don't know. You're gonna try to contact him from the spirit world? But I got to tell you something now, okay? Killed by Bigfoot. I got to tell you a little bit about spirits then. There was a lady that her son went off to the war, okay? And to the Iraq war. And one day she got the really, the knock at the door, and some soldiers are there and letting her know that her son was killed in action in Iraq, and it devastated her, okay? Totally devastated her. It was her only son. So for several weeks, she was trying to figure out, she didn't get to tell him goodbye. She kind of was after. She didn't like that he went in the service, so they left on bad. They separated on bad terms. She never got to say she was sorry for like jamming him on it and everything. She just didn't want him to go get killed, and that's what happened. Supposedly, what happened? Okay. So she lives in California, and she goes to the Bay Area, and she finds somebody to do a what do you call it, where you all sit around a table and hold hands, one of those things. And the lady called to the other side and asked for her son to join them in this room, and the son joined them. There was her son. A seance. That's it. Thank you, Mary. Hi, Mary. Okay, there was her son, and she got to talk to him, and she said she was sorry, and they talked all about everything, okay? And she felt so much better, he forgave her and all this stuff. And then it was maybe 2 weeks after that, she was at home, she's all happy and everything, and there's a knock at the door, and she gets up and answers the door, and it's her son, not dead. So her son shows up, and he wasn't dead. They made a mistake, and he wasn't dead. So now he's standing there alive, standing in front of her. Who was the spirit that they called in the seance? Who is that? Who is the impersonator? It wasn't her son. It was a familiar spirit. So if you call Charles Manson, it doesn't mean you're going to talk. You might talk to somebody, but it doesn't mean you're talking to Charles Manson. Actually, what you're doing is you're opening a door, you're inviting a spirit to you, and then if you even believe what they say, now it can attach to you. And it can follow you around, and pretty soon you'll start like having problems with your household and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it might be like haunted stuff, or it just might be like all of a sudden your wife and kids or your friends are all not being cool with you. And I mean, like they're there to destroy people. That's what they want to do, is destroy people. Charles Manson worked for that side and he killed people. Okay, so that these things aren't good. Like, they're not good. They're not good. And then I'm like with Bigfoot or Sasquatch, I'm trying to figure out that, because I have a feeling they might not be good either. There might be some that are, but there might be some that aren't. And the more that I've been doing this a long time, it took me a long time to even see the supernatural part of them. They didn't show me that for a long time. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that we're talking about here. But yeah, now that's right, Amanda. You're not talking to spirits of people. You're talking about spirits of the dead offspring, the titans, the giants, the men of renown, right? The ones that got killed in the flood. That's the spirits. They didn't have anywhere to go. God didn't create them. He didn't create them, so he doesn't have a place for them. And in the Bible, it says that they're just wandering around on the earth in dry places, looking for someone to get into, right? Looking to destroy, to eat people. I mean, a lot of stuff, bad things, really bad. So yeah, I'll tell you a story about a Ouija board, man. We went to this, it was like before, it was a long time before Jeffrey. It was in my days of, still learning about what we're talking about, excuse me. I learned, God put me in a crash course on demonology and how to deal with them. And he put me in some predicaments, you know what I mean? And I had to deal with that kind of stuff. And we went to this one house, and these kids were using a Ouija board, and they unlocked the Ouija. They unlocked some kind of portal in the house, right, using a Ouija board. And all of us, when we went in there, things were flying around, and it took a little questioning to figure out. I mean, at first they didn't want to say Ouija board, so we were trying to figure out, like, what is the root of all this trouble that they're having in their house, like they're hearing things. There's things attacking them and choking them. I mean, like even grabbing them by the neck, and they would like go up the wall, and you can't see it, right? But when you see this person's feet are off the ground and they're choking out and they're up the wall, all the cabinets, doors would fly open and all the dishes would fly out. Bookshelves, the same thing. I mean, and the more that we talked to these people about what was going on in their house, the more angry or whatever this was in there got. And finally, one of the teenage girls said that they had a Ouija board, and it started when they had their friends over on a sleepover, and they were playing with the Ouija board and asking it questions and stuff, and somehow they unlocked this thing. So my mentor at the time, the one that was helping me learn all this stuff, and he was actually in charge of the whole thing. I was only there like backup, I guess you could say, right? Even though I felt like powerless, you know what I mean? Like we were dealing with something that was way out of my league. Good thing he knew what he was doing. But he just grabbed the Ouija board. He's like, "Hey, can you bring it and let me see it?" And he took the Ouija board, box and all, everything, and they had a fireplace going, right? And he went over there and he threw the Ouija board in the fire, and it screamed. As it was burning, it was screaming. And at a certain point, it stopped screaming, but it was screamed so creepy that I ran. I ran out of the house along with the girls and some of the other people in the house. We were way outside, man. We went all the way out to the street. We were scared of that. That's scary. That is a trip. Okay, and I never really thought about Ouija boards being bad. I mean, like, I even have a little story about a Ouija board and my wife. Like I was like 15 years old, and my wife moved in across the street, and her and my sister became friends, and I had no interest in my sister's friends. I didn't like dating my sister's friends. Actually, I didn't like dating anyone that was too close, to my house, because then they might see me. Because if you're not married and you're not a boyfriend and girlfriend, but so and I had my own car and everything, they might see me with another girl, and then it causes problems. So I like to keep everybody like far. I know I probably am telling way too much. I am going to get in trouble so bad, but only now my wife and my then sister's friend, not wife, just association, with my sister, her friend. I'm just like, I only know her because she's a friend. Her and a couple other of their friends, they were playing with the Ouija board and they were asking him questions, and I happened to come out out of the house into the garage, and they were asked. It was my wife's turn, and they were asking who was she going to get married to, right? So and I don't know any of the other questions they asked. All I know is that one, because that was the only one I stuck around for, And I thought, oh, that's kind of a neat question. Okay, like I remember I told you I was not raised in church. We weren't raised in church. So we didn't know anything about Ouija boards. I mean, we bought it at a toy store. I mean, come on. Got it for Christmas or something. It was a toy. That's what we thought. And so, they asked the question, is who's she going to get married to, and it spelled my name out. And I laughed, and they're all like, oh, no way, and I thought it was hilarious, yeah, right, that'll never happen in a million years. That's what I said, and I laughed. I went and got in my car, and off I went. And it was several months later that I had there was a family function, and my date couldn't go, so my sister's friend is there, and I'm like, it's tonight and I need a date for that. I need a date, I'm like, so I ask her, hey, you want to go with me to this little dinner party thing, because I can't go alone, and she said, sure. So then, we had the most fun I ever had. I mean, we hit it off. I mean, it was like so weird. And before you knew it, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and in high school. And I was like, all the guys are always giving her presents and stuff like that, hand carved boxes and stuff, jewelry boxes. And I would tell her, you have to give them back. She goes, I can't give them back. Here, give it to me, and I'll go give it back. And so I would take all her presents back. And then we wound up getting married, and, that was from a Ouija board. That was foretold from a Ouija board. It's interesting, but it didn't have anything to do with it as far as I'm concerned. Like, because of that knowledge that we had, we weren't looking to try to, hook up or nothing. It just hooked up. We just hooked up, And this year, next month on the 17th, is 40 years that we've been married. And we raised 6 kids. We have a grip of grandkids. We have like a bunch of other kids that were friends of our kids that they had no home life or their parents are messed up on drugs, and we took those kids in. I mean, we've taken in so many people. It's unreal. I've had my living room floor where you couldn't even walk on the floor, and just giving people place to stay where because their life was not. I mean, staying on my living room floor was better than what they had. So, I mean, it's been an interesting 40 years, I'll tell you. But yeah, she has to be a saint to keep me around because I'm at the time I wasn't a nice guy, at all, doing law enforcement and martial arts and drinking, and it all doesn't mix. You know what I mean? It's like as soon as you add alcohol, it was an instant fight wherever I was. Just look at me wrong, and I didn't argue at all. I just went over and punched people out. And then my sister was the same way, and I mean we have a tough family. I'll tell you. They used to be we would all drop at the fight at a drop of the hat or a bad glance or like, what do you mean mugging? Ask them a question you didn't like the answer, wapow. But yeah. But that's the Ouija board. There's something to it. Okay, there's something to it, and it's not good. It opens up bad things. Since then, we've been to after me and Jeffrey got together, we went to several places, and I had learned about it from my mentor, and I still am learning though. See, I'm still learning. There you never stop learning. Like I don't know it all. I don't know it all. But I can share what I do know from experience. I'm not an expert on Bigfoots. I'm not an expert on Ouija boards. I'm not an expert on spirits and demons and stuff like that. But only I have a good grasp of what's going on. And, I'm nearly 60 now. So I've had a lot of time. And then, going in this field and, talking to hundreds of people where their houses have been haunted and then helping them get rid of it, right? At first, I didn't know what I was doing exactly, but only after I started doing trial and error and researching, and I kept trying different things. I've tried the holy water and the candles and all these things, burning sage. I know, like everybody, my family burns sage. Okay, I know about sage. I know all about it. I used to believe that kind of stuff, right? And I believe that these demons, they'll play with you. They'll toy with you. They'll play along with your sage burning for a little while, And maybe they might stop for a minute. And that'll reinforce your idea that sage works, But then 2 weeks later, it's all everything that you burned the sage for. You have to burn the sage again, right? And you got to burn the sage again, and you got to burn the sage again. There's one way where you don't have to burn any sage, and you only can say one word, and long as you believe that the one word works, and you stand on what you said and don't doubt and go back on your word, you never have to do it again. You can just go on. It never comes back, ever. Sometimes I wonder if because of all the things in that area and the UFO stuff and abductions, I mean, another hundreds of people I've talked to, me and Jeff, talked to all these lots of people, we've sightings, abductions, it runs the gamut. You know what I mean? Like we've really for like 7 or 8 years we've been hard at this, and actually Bigfoot wasn't even a big part of it. It was a small part of it at first, and the Bigfoots, now that it grew more and more with the Bigfoot, because that's my like thing. That one I know the least about, even though I've been doing it out of all the things the longest. They're so elusive. They're forest ninjas. All I know is I'm not the apex predator anymore. They are. I learned that a long time ago, and so now I'm just trying to figure that out. And I'll still do, like, if people have hauntings and there's demons or the possessions, I'll still go help people. And I may have some friends now that I'm kind of helping along, learning, and hopefully, like, because where two or more, there he is with you, and it's true. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And if I ever get a Bigfoot, like if ever a Bigfoot attacks me, I'm going to shoot it. Okay. I'm not going to go hunting them to shoot them. But if one gets to me, I am going to try to shoot it. And if I happen to kill it, I'm not going to bring back a Bigfoot, but I'm going to bring back a piece of one or a couple of pieces of one. Like maybe I can grab a hand and a head or something, and bring it back. Not saying that's what I'm going out there to do. I'm just saying, like, I would do the same thing to a bear or a mountain lion or even a human. If they're coming to get me, to kill me, then, I'm putting up a fight. And I hope everybody does. I don't go out there and be some, yeah. Some of them are magical, but only I think I've noticed that magical part, like when the tracks. You track them into a middle of a big giant field, and then their tracks disappear. Where'd they go? Did they get disappeared? Did they take off in a UFO? Did a helicopter pick them up? I know darn well I'm a good enough tracker that they did not backtrack in their tracks. Okay, that didn't happen. So it had to be something else. So what I think is it's almost like the angels and the demons and stuff like that. They share the same space with us, but they could be in another dimension, and they actually can see all the light spectrum, or more of it than we can. So they could be in a spectrum that we can't interact with, and or see or smell or hear or anything. And they can be standing right next to us, and they can see us and hear us and smell and everything, and grab you if they want to, right? And I think they don't, where they would be caught, and like busted, and then it would get out that they can mess with you in there in that other dimension. But I think while they're in our dimension, they're vulnerable to anything that we have. Like, I think they can be hurt. When they pop into the other dimension, you can't see them to hurt them, and I don't think anything in this dimension could kill them. But when they're in this one, they're solid. Whatever pushes trees over out there is not a ghost. It's real big, and it pushes trees down and breaks things. Yeah. Yeah, they do make sound frequencies, and then some of the frequencies make people sick. Like, I don't. There's been a few times where it never done anything to me, but I have friends. Like, one of them has a pacemaker, and he's got zapped so many times, and he's actually scared that the pacemaker's going to quit and he's going to die. That, in fact, it was talking with him is when I realized, he started putting a tarp over his tent, and it stopped. The zapping stopped when he put a tarp over his tent. So then I was thinking about that, like, I know a lot about cameras. I was a cameraman, went around the world with a camera. I worked in a casino where, I helped purchase a lot of cameras and security equipment and stuff like that. And there's cameras talking about that light range again, the frequencies of the light range. There's cameras in the casino that can see through your clothes. If it's rayon, and I always never can remember that. Women wear more of those types, the rayon and stuff like that, than anyone, right? So I always, like, all my really good friends, like, you guys are all my really good. I don't call you subscribers. You guys are my friends, all right? These cameras in the casino can see through your clothes. They can't see through cotton, but they can see through rayon and all that type, silky kind of polyester and rayon. And there's another one, but they can see right through it, like it's not even there. You can see like the outline of it, but you can see right through it. Now, what I'm thinking is, like, after I talked with my friend about, he puts the tarp over, and then now the Bigfoots can't zap him. Because why? Why can't they zap him just because of the tarp? Is that protecting him? They don't know where he is because they can't see through the tarp and the tent. But they can see through the tent. I think they can see through the tent. So then, like, all three of us are laying in there, and I don't get zapped. The other guy don't get zapped, but our buddy gets zapped. And he's the one that has the heart problem. The electrical thing making his heart beat. So he's scared. Now, when he put it over it, thinking that his shadow is being cast on the tent. Well, I tested that out and found out it wasn't his shadow. It was just that they couldn't see in there anymore. So then I'm thinking of these cameras in the casino that could see through rayon and polyester and stuff. And I'm thinking, it's just a light range, okay, a frequency. What if they can see in that frequency when they're in this, our dimension, and they could see through that? And so then they were zapping them. So what if they could see through everybody's tent? Like, I don't want to be in a sack lunch anymore. I'm not going to camp in a sack lunch. I really want to be more in, even though I don't think you're any safer in an RV than a tent, you're a little more safer. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to make a lot of noise getting to you unless they pop out of this dimension, go through the wall, and then pop inside of there, without making a hole in the door. And they can pull the door off easy as you want. But, so, like, that's where I'm at least on that idea of what the Bigfoots may be able to do on that and other things. So, and I was watching somebody, I can't remember his name, on, I think it was Jerry Klein, I think, something like that. And he was in an RV, and the Bigfoots attacked, all around him, and they were looking through the windows, and they were scaring the life out of him. He had the 911 on the phone, and you could hear him screaming at the Bigfoots and talking to the 911 officers, And what's really weird, it was right near that land between the lakes thing where all the murders were. And he doesn't go back there anymore, from what I understand. But I haven't listened to too many of his videos, But yeah. So what is everybody in chat doing? Let's see. Yeah, they can. They can shut down cameras. I've actually had them drain the batteries on the camera, shut them down. And then later on, I could use the camera and the battery was fine. It was like, how did they do that? Somehow they can affect the cameras. And then also game cameras. Like, we could set up traps where we have several game cameras all in a shot of each other, where they could see, where the cameras can see the other cameras. You know what I mean? So, like, if he messes with one camera, the other two get him, type thing. Well, they come in, and then all of them malfunction and take several pictures with just dark pictures, nothing. And then when then the camera starts working again. All of a sudden there'll be a squirrel or a deer or something walk through, and there's a picture of it. But then we also noticed that the bait we used, the apples that we used to bring them into that circle, they're all gone, but all the stickers are laying on the ground in a pile. So they sat right there and ate the apples and left the stickers in a pile and didn't get one picture off of 4 cameras. And the cameras were taking pictures, but they were taking pictures of black. Nothing. Just like, how did they do that? Like, are they mentally doing that? Is somebody running around and putting their finger over it? All of them. Like, is there 5 Bigfoots? And one's eating the apples and the other 4 are holding their finger over the. I don't know. All I know is they can do that. Yeah, it's really interesting what they can do. So let's see. Yeah, they can do the belly crawl. I found evidence of the belly crawl way back when. And now that's something I always look for because I think they actually crawl up more than they walk up. I actually believe they're more like soldiers. You know what I mean? Like they're ninjas. Like they do it like a cartoon, right on their fingertips and toes, and they just like creep right around the ground. And they get over there right to you and be laying in a bush for hours and you wouldn't even know it, and they're only like 5 feet away. And then the next day they'll be over like a little ways away, 50, 60 feet, just inside the tree line where you can't hear them, and then they'll be calling your name. You'd be like, who is that? They wait for everybody to go on a hike, and then they're sitting over there calling my name. And I'm sitting in camp because I can't hike, so I hear my name called a lot. And they can make it sound like one of my friends, like mimicked completely. It's really weird. I'm not a gun, but my husband and daddy are. Oh. Forest ninjas. They are forest ninjas. Yeah, so it's 6 o'clock, you guys. I hate to leave you, but I gotta go. I hope I answered the question on the Donald Marshall thing. Okay, I could talk more about Donald Marshall later if you guys want talk about anything really. That's what the chat's for. I love I try to keep an eye on it and answer questions. And then that's what the comments are for. Like, if there's something like somebody put that they wanted me to pray for their family, I'm praying for your family. And actually, I'm praying for everyone that leaves comments and stuff like that. If I see your name, everyone that has donated to my PayPal, everyone that has purchased some of the merchandise, if I got your name somehow, you're getting prayed for, and I don't care where you are in the world. Prayer works right where you are. I don't have to be right there and touch you or anything. I can pray from here, and my faith works for you where you are. So if you have a topic or a prayer request, put it in the comments, and I read every one of them. Sometimes it's a day or so before I get to it, but I do read them, and I'm looking forward to answering everyone's questions or talking about things that we don't know. Like even I don't know. Maybe all together we can figure something out about some of this stuff. I'm going for yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be calling you, Chris. I noticed that you called. I've been pretty busy. I had that 3 days down with 4 days that I couldn't do anything. So my wife and everybody's keeping me pretty darn busy running around and catching up on everything. Let me see. Oh, yeah. And, subscribe, share, like everything. If you get your Squatch Zone gear and take a picture of it, I'm going to build a website called, I have it already. It's www.squatchzone.com. There's nothing there yet, but I'm slowly going to start putting that together. I think that's where I'm going to put the flute and the walking stick and some other stuff that's coming. I'm gonna create that, and that's where I'm gonna sell the things like that, and or do some kind of. I I feel bad that only one person's gonna get it, but I'm gonna keep bringing more and more stuff, and I'm gonna keep looking at more and more artists. I'm gonna keep on promoting them, and even after I'll still put stuff up there for sale, but I'm going to give them 100% of the money. I want to help people. I want to help people get known that are real talented. So I love musicians. Like if you're a flute player or any kind of musician and you want to make some music, and I'll play it on the show as an entry and a out thing. So, and I'll change it, like every so often to another musician. And I want to interview the artists and musicians at some point as soon as I get figure out how, like if it's the wire humming or if it's inside the mixer humming or if it's something sitting next to everything making it hum. I don't know. Maybe the phone might be making it hum. I'm not sure yet. I haven't got anything going for the flute yet, but I'll let you guys know. Yeah, ASD, ASD. I don't even know what ASD is. I know I have RSD. I don't know, I hope ASD doesn't hurt, man, because RSD is murder. Okay, you guys. I'm sorry it was so short. I wanted to at least get on here and say hi to everyone, and I enjoy this so much. Sometimes like I sit around all day waiting. Like, man, maybe I should go on at 11:30. Autism spectrum disorder. That's interesting. I don't know what that is, so I'll have to look that up. But I will. Yeah. Oh, gallbladder surgery. I'll be praying for you on that. I'm actually gonna here real soon have to go under for some oral dentistry surgery. Oh man, and I'm not looking forward to that. Last time I was in there, the dentist drilled my tongue twice, and so now the doctors hurt me and disabled me, and now the dentist drilled my tongue. I'm getting where I don't trust the medical field at all. Okay, so buy some gear, share, like, all that stuff. I love you guys. I love you guys. And I can't believe I have the best friends inside YouTube. You guys just rock and roll. Anyways, I gotta go. I shall see you soon. Real soon.